Hi, I'm Chris Mathias. I'm a state legislative candidate here in District 19. I'm running for the Idaho House of Representatives, seat 19B. I'm your neighbor. I'm a community leader. I harbor our values, and I want to be an effective voice for those values in the Idaho legislature. Let me tell you a little bit about myself. I was born on Mother's Day in 1978. My father was black, my mother was Jewish. They both struggled with addiction, and by the time I was 3 or 4, they were out of my life. And fortunately, I was raised in a loving household in rural New England, where we struggled. We were a middle-class family, but we definitely had bouts of poverty. I know what it's like to receive a WIC delivery in the middle of the winter and be thankful for it. I learned early on how to detect prejudice that was all around me. When you're really young, you don't realize, when you're poor, you don't realize when people are discriminating against you. But as you grow, you start to develop coping mechanisms, and those coping mechanisms have really turned into professional and personal attributes that I harbor today. I'm passionate, I'm patient, I'm a good listener, I'm empathetic, and I also can disagree with people without holding them in contempt. That's something that I've learned to do since I was a young child. After high school, lacking a lot of vision for myself, lacking the types of opportunities that young men and people of color in this country lack every day, I sought opportunity by enlisting in the Coast Guard. I learned discipline and self-regulation. I learned how to work effectively as a team, because when you're at sea, it's just you and your shipmates. Their health is my health, their safety is my safety, and I take that mentality to my role working with a group of legislators to solve big problems. I was fortunate enough to have GI Bill benefits that brought me to Boise State, where whole new worlds opened to me.
He was student body president, and I even remember from back then his strong, dynamic leadership skills. He had a deep care for his fellow students. He took his role really seriously, and he had such enthusiasm that even back then I had this impression that he'd be a really successful leader in the future.
One of my discoveries in college was my deep passion for the law. The idea that groups of citizens can come together to establish some rules for society so that we can run businesses and so we can educate our kids collectively in a safe, productive environment. So I took that passion. I earned myself a law degree. I also earned a PhD in law and public policy, and these degrees really equipped me with unique tools, and these are the tools that I want to use on behalf of the residents of District 19. For the last almost 15 years, I've worked in education. I'm married to an educator. My mother's an educator. Education runs in my blood, and personally, it was the great equalizer in my life. It really made sure that my children would have a brighter future than I had.
Chris was appointed as Chief Academic Officer for the State Board of Education. And I can tell you firsthand, with the 28 conservative Republicans that have been attacking higher education, we need somebody with a strong voice who understands higher ed. Chris would be a powerful voice for this district and would be a powerful leader for education.
One of the things we really love is not just our home where we grow apples and hops and tomatoes, but the environment within which our house exists. We love our neighbors. We love that they share values and that they look out for us and our children, and vice versa. We're fortunate to have good schools that our children can walk to, parks that they can walk to, safe streets and sidewalks that they can ride their bikes on. And that's why I'm running. My wife and I want that for more of Idaho's children and their families.
One thing I've learned from being a representative in this district, it's a full-time job. You have to really roll up your sleeves. And that's who Chris is. He has a strong work ethic. He has a passion for this community. His family is being raised here. He will do all he can to bring our voices forward.
He stands up for who he is, but also for other people. He's a voice for people who don't feel like they have one. And I think that makes him an incredible community member, a great employee, but also an amazing partner and father to our children.
I want to substantially raise the minimum wage so that families can eat dinner together every night instead of working 2 and 3 jobs. I'm running so that they have real access to health care so that they don't have to let minor pain become major pain. I'm running to fully fund our schools so that our students develop the types of skills that are going to help them be successful when they become adults. I'm running to keep our public lands public, clean, and accessible. I'm Chris Mathias, and I'd be honored to have your vote in the May 19th primary.